Happening, guys? What's good? Welcome back to another episode of Augment with my co-host Scariox and our guest Nijafe today. I'll throw it to you, Scariox. How's it going? How are you going today? You were staying up till like what time for Cucker's Cave?
Like 2 a.m. I think we jumped off.
Right. I missed Cucker's Cave. I didn't even know that was a thing going on last night. That is my bad. That is my bad.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Even Dick came in an hour late, so you're not missing much. Um,
Right. Sick.
no, but it was a good time. We played some Smash Cards, hung out, chilled out. I've been trying to get to Cooker's Cave at least more often, weekly,
Yeah.
and trivia as well if I can. It's a lot of fun just hanging out with people and chatting and everything. You
Yeah.
know the drill.
Yeah. Trivia is good fun. Nijafe, have you popped into Cucker's Cave? I haven't seen you in Cucker's Cave yet.
I think it always shows up like at a time when I'm not available. Like I must be at
Right.
work or something.
Yeah.
There's a few of those things like the trivia too. Like I think I'm always at work when those come on.
Yeah. Because trying to support the family and everything, you can't just be skipping
Uh,
out for trivia. Makes sense.
right.
But yo, Nijafe, appreciate you coming on, man. For anyone that doesn't know who Nijafe is, I'm sure you guys do already, but Nijafe is one of our core creators who makes like pretty much Illuvium content exclusively. He does dabble in a couple of other things, but majority of his stuff is Illuvium content. And actually, I won't say too much more, but if you want to just do follow him, the link is down below in the description. So just be sure to do that. He is like, in my opinion, a really good quality creator as well. So it makes good quality content. And you've been going hard with shorts as well recently. I've seen that, and just like your growth is just props, mad props on that. I wanted to say that publicly as well.
Yeah.
But
Well, I gotta give you some credit for the shorts. Like
uh,
I was thinking about it. I had done like a couple, but then you really started pushing those on us, and yeah, I took full advantage. Yeah, they've been
yeah,
working out pretty good for me.
yeah, shorts are unbelievable. And now with the next
Yeah.
UI, but yeah, we won't talk too much about the content side. Again, you bring something very unique when it comes to the content creation. And just before we get into any of those things, your approach, your mindset, give us a bit of a backstory of who you are, how you got into content, how you got into Illuvium, crypto, all of those things.
Um. So I haven't been in crypto that long. I mean, now it might actually seem like longer now, but to me it seems like I just started.
Right.
It was really after things crashed in March 2020, and
Hmm.
then I got laid off from my job, and then I had a lot more free time to start looking at things. So I started looking into stocks, and then I came across Bitcoin. I bought a little bit early on, I think when it was 8,000, and then I forgot about it all summer. I checked back and I realized I had like doubled my money, and
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, there's something going on here. So that's when I started looking into it more, a lot more research, putting a lot more money into it, and then I just realized this is the future, you know.
Yeah.
Um, then looking into more Ethereum. I think it was around January 2021 when things were really blowing up.
Mm.
That's when I started really learning about like the Web3 space.
Yeah.
And I just remember I watched one video. I don't even know who it was at this point. I don't remember. But somebody was saying like how in video games you could have a sword in one game and then bring it to another game and still use it, and it could be worth something different in that other game. And then to me that was just like it just clicked in my head like this this is the future.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was possible at that
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I once I heard about that, I was like, I need to figure out more. I need to get involved in this.
Yep. And then how did you find out about like Illuvium from that? Like you started realizing the potential in games. How did that journey kind of lead you to Illuvium? Did you like for me like specifically it like personally I kind of looked through it and Illuvium was like the first game that I was like this looks legit. Like it was one of my first games. Whereas I know some people had a bit of an experience with CryptoKitties, with Axie, so on and so
Yep.
forth. They kind of took a longer road to get there. So what was your journey like to Illuvium? I'm very curious.
So once I saw that video about NFTs, basically, that was really the first time I heard about NFTs. Um, I started researching games. The first one I came across was the Sandbox,
Right.
um, and I knew, and that was my first basically altcoin other than Ethereum that I bought into. So I
Yeah.
bought sand at when it was worth 8 cents, and then
Ooh.
with the intention of buying some land.
Yeah.
I was too much of a noob back then. When the land sale happened, I couldn't figure out how to actually buy the land, so I just got stuck with the token. But the token ended up going from 8 cents to $8, so it worked out.
Yeah.
But that led me into finding Axie, and then I got involved in Axie, and then when I was just buying my first Axies, I was I was probably just getting shown this Web3 stuff
Mm.
or Web3 crypto gaming, and then I think it was the original Illuvium trailer
Mm.
promoting that their ICO, their token sale. And then I
Oh,
was like, all right,
nice.
I gotta get this. So I sold a little bit of my sand and bought some ILV at the token sale.
Yeah. Damn. So you
And
got it from the start, like.
yeah, I was in pretty early. I think so I was actually on an episode of a Illuvium rundown that we just filmed yesterday. We had
Yeah.
Vetamore on, and I was just telling him like I feel like I was aware of Illuvium so early, but it took me a little longer to start my YouTube and start making
Yeah.
content. But here I am now.
Yeah. 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 Now that's nuts. That's nuts. That's a crazy. So I didn't realize that you got it from the very start, man. Like I'm sure you would
Yeah,
have told me this like once before, but yeah, damn, that's wild
yeah. I
shit.
think so. Actually, it was when I got the tokens at the ICO. They had it like that Dutch style, so I got them for $78.
I mean, that's
So
where we're at now.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So like, yeah, so I wrote it up from $78 to 1900,
Yeah.
all the way back
All the way.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna say like, oh, do you think it's gonna go back up? Obviously,
Yeah.
but are you buying in again? None of this financial advice, guys. We do need to make that clear. This is just three people having a conversation. Are you looking at buying now? Are you still dollar cost averaging? What's your stance with where the price is now?
Um, yeah, I think it's a great price, but I think it's a great price for most crypto coins. Um, so for most of this bear market, I've been actually just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum mostly, but I also have like passive income coming in through crypto, and I made a video about this. I have I'm in the Drip protocol. I do Fancy Birds. Um, I'm staking in a couple other protocols, and usually I'm taking those profits and I'm putting that into ILV and SILV too. So
Right.
I'm slowly, basically building my bags for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ILV and SILV too. Yeah.
That's your portfolio right now. You're just adding onto like those three or four technically.
Um, I I do like Cardano.
Okay.
So those are my four big ones.
Right.
It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and ILV.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. Again, none of this is financial advice, guys. We need to reiterate that. This is us just having a bit of a conversation.
I don't think I'll ever own Bitcoin again.
No.
I don't love it.
Damn.
It just feels so useless. I don't care how digital gold it is. Pretty much every crypto has a max supply. So what does it really matter? At least they're useful.
There is one thing about branding, right? It's like in regards to they do have that even if you ask like again my dad or someone who doesn't know anything about crypto, the first thing they'll say like, oh, when I told him, oh, yo, I got a job in like in Web3 gaming and like crypto gaming, he was like, oh, like Bitcoin, like that was like that's the way they think. So whether that holds any weight, I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
well, I'll ask you guys quick. When you first got into crypto, was it Bitcoin first, or
yeah,
was it something else? Because for
Bitcoin,
me, it was Bitcoin first. So I have that connection to like Bitcoin being the
the
number
door,
one coin.
yeah,
Like I have to have a little allocation of that.
yeah.
I feel like it's just
No, it's
necessary.
Ethereum. Ethereum
You
first,
you
always.
you first got it through Ethereum.
I knew what Bitcoin was, but I
Yeah,
bought
yeah, of
Ethereum
course.
first. I bought a little bit of
Wow.
Bitcoin on the way up at some point to try and make a quick buck, but I sold it all. I don't need it.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, wow. Because yeah, most people like yourself, Najee, most people I know did get into Bitcoin, but myself included. Like I was more. I think I was like when I had my crypto portfolio, it was like 40% of about 60% of it was Bitcoin, 40% was Ethereum, and I kind of held that for like I think like 6 months or something before I even looked at any other altcoin,
Yeah.
just so I could understand like the volatility and understand even like for the larger caps, like again Bitcoin, Ethereum, how that felt, my emotions with that going up and down. And only after that, I was like, okay, I can handle the volatility. I still have income coming in. Like it's not like I'm not stressing out. And that's when I started to go into a cup, like not even man, like the old coins that I have. Honestly, it's just Illuvium. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, there are other things that I could be like, oh yeah, I can go in and out, but just to me, in regards to like the best like potential upside, understanding the gaming side and everything, I was like, yo, it looks like Illuvium to me. And I'm not saying there aren't other opportunities out there. Obviously, there are. But just for me personally, where I'm at, it was just the risk tolerance that I was like, all right, Illuvium seems to fit that. Let me do that instead. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
learned in the last bear market like not to spread myself too thin. I was when everything was going up, I think I was holding like 30 different coins at one point just
that's
because
yeah,
everything looked good. But now I'm pretty much down to 95% of my crypto is in like 4 coins.
yeah, and that's I think yeah, like 4 to 5. I think it should be like again, this is just me, but I think a handful where a handful is still diversified, but you're able to actually keep track on it. Otherwise, it just sounds like you're just throwing bets on the table. Like when you
Yeah,
go to the casino, sometimes you go roulette. You start putting things on 4 different tables, and you're just
yeah.
walking
Hopes
around
for
seeing
it.
what like you don't know what's going on, but you're just like, all right, let's see, something must have hit.
Yeah,
And yeah, and yo,
yeah.
in
My
the chat, by the way, guys, in chat, let us know what was the what was it for you guys? What was the introduction? Was it Bitcoin or Ethereum? I've already seen a couple of people reply to that, but I'm yeah. All right, Skarks,
I
do you wanna
think
kind of move this on, or do you want to add
yeah,
something?
yeah. I was just gonna say that like yeah, as far as buying crypto tokens, obviously not financial advice, but my
Yeah.
focus at the moment is any real yield project. That
Mm.
is really all I care about. Thankfully, Ethereum is included with Ethereum staking and even with their mining and things like that. They've had a lot of real yield factors for a long time. ILV is obviously my top token in that. Um, bear market resistant, right? That's what they're saying. A lot of the people I research through and the YouTube videos and things I watch is apparently in a recession, even dividend stocks are supposedly the way to go because they can
Yeah.
actually pay you out the same, if not sometimes more, than you were getting during a bull run.
Yeah.
And your income's actually really static. There's a lot of charts and things going around where your income or your passive income or whatever is pretty much the same as if you just had a stock that was going up or whatever
Mm.
in the bull run and things like that.
Yeah.
And it stays the same throughout bearish times as well. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting, and that's why I'm interested in real yields. So I've got ILV ETH. IMX I've looked at, but might get into it later on. I tried it for a
Yeah.
bit and I was like, yeah, it's a bit weird.
I need to look
And
more into that. I think they've started their staking now. So I need to look more into
yeah,
that.
that's not actually a good thing. I'll explain that to you in private later.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and the other one is PFI, which I've talked about on the channel and stuff. And the other one there that I want to start looking at a little bit more is GMX, which is on Arbitrum, and it's a really, really cool project as well. But it's a bit
Yeah.
larger than I would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move it on now is play to earn. So you got into crypto, you understood that, you understood gaming was a part of this, and then I'm assuming you wrote up Axie, or you got somewhere relatively early on Axie, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I bought into Axie before all the hype. It was still on the Ethereum blockchain, hadn't even moved to Ronin yet. So
Yeah.
you had to pay your Ethereum gas fees. I think when I first got in, I paid around $150 for each Axie. So it was under $500 to get started. The the coin was like 4 cents, and I was just at that point I was like a game five moon boy, and I didn't even know it at that point. I was just like, I'm just gonna buy into this and see what happens.
Mm.
And then I started compounding it, buying a couple more Axies, and then all of a sudden it just like started blowing up and talking about it. I heard someone talk about the manager and scholar system, and I was just like, oh, I need to get in on that. So yeah, I rode that whole wave up and then
Yeah.
all the way back down. But yeah,
And that was yeah. And that was your first like foray into play to earn was Axie?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, interesting. And what are your so I think that's interesting, right? Because again, you were one of the I wouldn't say one of the few, but you were one of the lucky ones that kind of got like that a positive journey through Axie. I'll kind of put it like that. You had a
Yeah, when I
positive,
started,
yeah.
I remember there was 30,000 active users, and it went from 30,000 to like 2 million at one point.
Mm. Yeah. It was wild. Like even because I look at the numbers to try and compare, and that's how I do. And it's even now, like I believe even now they're still getting like 100,000 like live players. I think live or like it's still like a decent number.
Probably
Actually,
even more than that.
let me look
100
this up. Actually,
100k.
100K live, right? Yeah, which is like pretty like I mean it's not bad. Like that's not a bad number to have. Um, but yeah, so regarding that, I'm actually very curious. Like, so Play to Earn has gone through its little journey. Whether it's the end of it or not, it's unclear as of now. But what are your thoughts on it? Like on the whole Play to Earn structure? Because we've seen other things being tossed out, like Play and Own, Play to Own, a whole bunch of these other random like catchphrases. What do you think about the whole play to earn space? Like, do you think it's sustainable? Do you think there's a model that is sustainable that we haven't seen yet? What's your take on that? Yeah, I'll leave it with you.
Yeah, so play to earn, just like NFTs or it's just a people give it a bad name. You know, they hear play to earn, they hear NFTs and gaming, and they're just saying like oh that's trash, it didn't work. But just because it hasn't really worked yet and proved to be sustainable doesn't mean that it's not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think there is a future in it, and it's going to be big. I just think we haven't got there yet.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I always just like think in my head is I compare like a GameFi game, Axie or like Illuvium to like the real world. So, and I always think of like landscaping. So, say you want to own like a landscaping company and you buy some lawnmowers. You hire some people to ride those lawnmowers, cut people's grass, and collect some money. The
Yeah,
people riding those lawnmowers are extracting from the system, right? They're
yeah,
cutting grass and they're taking money. And that's it. They're not putting anything back into it, but it's a sustainable model because there's a demand for getting your grass cut.
yeah,
So when you compare that to GameFi, it's Axie didn't work because the game just wasn't good enough. There wasn't a
yeah,
good enough demand for it.
yeah,
Now, obviously, we have to see what Illuvium is going to do, but I see Illuvium as a game that people want to play. There's a demand for it. There's going to be a demand for the assets. The game's going to be fun and people want to play it. And as long as there's a demand for people putting money into the game, then there's also going to be other people who want to put time into the game and extract some money. And I
yeah,
think the demand is going to be there. So I think it could be a sustainable model.
yeah.
We just haven't seen a game that works with it yet.
Right.
Does that
Interesting.
make sense?
Yeah. And what I'm really curious about, man, is like because I feel like, and we can kind of see it in many other like ways in the world that's going on today. Hey, what's up? We have a special guest. Do you want to say hello? No,
Did
no, she doesn't want to
did
say
you make
hello.
your alluvial? Do you want to show your alluvial real quick?
All right, let's have a look. Yo, you can't come on here and not show us.
Not done yet?
Well, I want to do it. I want to do it when the show's done.
Okay, well, okay, then go
All right.
finish it.
Well, okay. The show's done now. The show's done now. You can show us now.
That's it.
PSG, come on.
You're such a liar, man.
Bloody Karen.
Hey, what is?
Okay. Not
All
too
right.
bad.
I like it.
I like that. Yo, have you heard of Picasso? Because
I like
Picasso
the
ain't much
Halloween
of
thing
shit
in the
on
top
you,
left.
man.
Yeah. Nice.
Yo, that's hilarious.
This is where all of the candy comes out.
Right.
What
Like
alluvial is it?
M&M's, right?
Is it an atlas?
I just made
Okay. All right. So, do you want to keep coloring, or you want to sit here and be quiet? You gonna sit here and be quiet, or you
No.
want to go sit down?
Guys, in chat, give that a rating out of 10. Give that a rating out of 10. What you guys think of that? Yo, I lied to you, Gianna. We are live. We didn't end the show yet. I'm sorry. Your
Oh,
point
sorry.
is a
I
lie.
know she interrupted you, but what were you saying?
Yeah. Oh man, what was I gonna say now?
I have no
Right,
idea.
right. Yeah. So we kind of swing on the pendulum of extremes, right?
Yeah.
Where right now we're getting like again, in my opinion, we're getting scammed in regards. Yo, she's just mocking me right now. Um, like right
That's
now, yo,
exactly what you look like.
like we
Just
get
nailed it.
yo, it's crazy that I'm actually getting so distracted. So like we're be getting scammed in regards of gaming right now. Like we put in our time, we put in our money, we go to work, we buy the game, we put in time and money, and all we get out is entertainment. And that's fine when we're young and we don't have responsibilities. But again, now you've got a daughter right there, you got bills to pay. Pure entertainment just isn't really enough for us. But do you think we've gone too far in the swing to yo, we need to earn from playing? It's not like the general collectible mindset of let me buy it, maybe it goes up, maybe it doesn't, but I can like trade it out for a little bit. Is that okay? Yo, Gianna is next level, fan.
you, you just reacted to me
Yeah.
too.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think there is too far of an extreme. I think
Yeah,
when a game tries to say it's play to earn, I'm gonna
yeah.
have to put you down.
Yo, that sounds horrible, fam. It's like, yo, I need to put you
No,
down.
come on, Taryn. Bloody Taryn.
Yeah, I don't think a game should just straight out say it's play to earn, because then
Yeah.
you're gonna just attract people to make it play to earn. But
Yeah,
if a game like Illuvium comes out where people are gonna want to play it whether it's play to earn or not, then I think the people who want to earn from it, they have a
we'll find a
place.
way.
Because, like I said, it goes back to the demand. If there's going to be people in Illuvium who want to buy these alluvials, but they don't want to spend the time out in the overworld to catch them.
Yeah,
So, as much as you don't want to call it a job, some people are going to look at it like, I'm going to put in the time in the overworld to catch these alluvials to provide them for somebody who doesn't want to spend the time.
yeah,
And that person's going to pay for that time.
yeah. So you think the biggest thing is not to market it as play to earn? Like you think we're like just naturally going to get to that point, but you just don't think we should market it as that because marketing as that is going to like attract a whole bunch of extractors.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's a game that has a real world economy. It's not
Yeah,
it's not an earning game. It's not like a crypto game. Like, calling it a crypto game is going to be that's not going to be a thing in 5 to 10 years. I think
yeah,
we
yeah,
all know.
yeah,
It's just going to
yeah,
be what gaming is. Just like any other job. Like, McDonald's is a McDonald's. It's not in
Oh, I love McDonald's.
Oh my
it's
god,
not a
yeah,
it's not an eat to earn, or like, you don't go there to like extract money. It's just a product. That's what it is.
yeah,
So, like, Illuvium is just going to be a product. Some people are going to take advantage of it financially.
yeah,
I personally am going to try. I'm going that route. I want to do that.
yeah,
And there are going to be other people who just want to consume it for fun.
yeah,
I
And
think
I think that's fine, no matter how you want to do it.
yeah,
I think my where my head's at is it's like a real economy progression, right? And this is going to be a weird juxtaposition to make. But how I think about it is you can go in, you can play for free, you can capture all these T zeros, do whatever you want. Maybe you extract $2 or $3. Now you have a choice there. You can either sell it, get that $2 or $3, and leave, or keep doing that, or whatever. Or you can spend that $2 or $3 into going and getting that T1 and T2, and then you could take that and keep moving yourself forward and just progress through the game essentially for free in a lot of ways. Or you can stop at the start. And I kind of see like the real world situations like that. You'll go into work at McDonald's or something. Maybe it's an entry level job, and you'll work up to management or whatever, saving your money and making sure you have the funds to forward your goals and your financial decisions. And then maybe you need to take a break from work so you can get a new skill set to go into a higher paying job. And that will cost you money that you earned in that entry level job. And there's all these pathways, and I think Illuvium is going to work really similar, and I'm excited to see how the economy evolves. But I also think it's going to fluctuate a lot. Obviously, T zeros might be worth a lot in the early days, and probably significantly less in the later days. But that path will almost always exist as long as the game is fun to play and popular, especially if they're adding new T zeros and things along the way as well. So I think it's going to be really interesting overall. But like extending from that, currently we don't have all the details of Illuvium and how these things are going to work just yet. But if you had to guess, what are your plans to make a business in Illuvium? Do you have a particular avenue you're going to focus on?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try that route of I'm calling it more sponsorships now. I like that word better than scholarships. Like we've heard Kieran talk about it a number of times. The idea of scholarships just doesn't work. Like, doesn't make sense. Can you stop?
Yo,
But I think sponsorships work better.
can we get a T-Rex roar from Gianna? It seems like the audience wants that.
Oh, they
Yo.
want a T-Rex roar.
They didn't say
You better
that.
do it.
They are
yeah,
absolutely
right.
I'm
saying
kicking you
that.
out.
They did.
I'm making you go back down there if you don't do a T-Rex roar.
Yeah, Gianna, yo, that was horrible, man. Okay, yo, that's just deafening.
like a pterodactyl, maybe.
Okay.
Yo,
There you go.
Can you? Yeah, you're just
It's
both.
better than yours, TSG.
yeah, it was. I can't lie. That was better than mine. Yo. All right,
She
sorry,
really
you were
is
saying. You're saying
distracting.
about scholarships and whatnot. Yo, she's jumping back.
Yeah. Hey, seriously.
Yo,
Just-
Dipset, what is
Yeah,
going on right now is the realities of having a child. That is what is going on right now.
Hey, seriously. Shh. Yeah. So in my AMA with Kieran, there's a couple questions I had about how like sponsorships or something could function. And those were actually a couple of questions where he didn't have an answer for me. Like in Axie, you can do it manually where you can actually just make another account, link a wallet to it, and then give somebody the username and password, and they don't have access to the wallet. So you can make scholarships that way. I asked him if that would be possible in Illuvium, and he gave a little laugh and he said no comment at this time. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. If I were to guess, I think it will be possible. He
Yeah.
just doesn't want to promote it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
Palamos is building all the systems.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
yeah.
But they're building a system where you would like put your alluvials into it and other people will take them out and use them. I think of the sponsorships as the idea of like, I want to fund somebody with fuel and shards so they can spend the time in the overworld. And then I split the return. I split the resources.
Like a direct kind of sponsorship rather than a middleman.
Exactly.
Take that middleman out.
Because all of those things that are being built, like I said, are you still need to get the alluvials yourself, and then you need to lend those out. But
Yeah.
I want to find, sponsees to spend the time in the overworld to catch these alluvials.
Yeah.
And then I want to either choose which alluvials I want to keep for my deck,
Yeah.
choose which alluvials I want to keep in their account to progress further, and then choose which ones I want to sell off to recompound back into the system.
Yeah.
It's still up in the air and how possible or how easy that's going to be able to be, but that's my idea because each alluvial is a product of time, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to get the alluvials and then have somebody play with them. I want people to help me catch them, spend the time in the overworld to catch these alluvials.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you know?
Yep. And you
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
you've kind of touched on it now, and I'm actually curious on your take here as well of like what's the angle, what's the direction that you see? Because again, actually, quick question: are you looking at Illuvium as more of a game for yourself personally, or a business opportunity?
Both.
So, like, it can't be 50-50 though, right? Like it has to be one over another.
Well, let's put it this way. I grew up and I loved playing video games.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I didn't have time. I couldn't justify the time to play video games.
Yeah.
So if let's say in the United States right now the lottery is at like $1.5 billion. It's ridiculous.
Sure.
Let's say
Yeah.
let's say I won that tomorrow, then I would just be looking to play Illuvium all day.
Yeah.
And I would be
Okay.
fine with it.
Yeah.
So, and that's like the extreme. If money wasn't a problem, then I would just play the game because I think it's going to be an awesome game.
Right.
But for me, in order to justify my time playing Illuvium,
you need to
I
get a
need to
return.
turn it into a business.
Yeah.
I need to to make sure that I'm not wasting my time and I'm capitalizing on my time.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, if money wasn't an issue, I would be happy with this just being a game because I think it's going to be awesome. The
yeah.
fact that I can put two together and it be my
It's
favorite
ideal.
game plus a way to monetize, then
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. The reason I asked that is because again, the question I did want to ask originally was, what direction are you seeing this business going? Like, again, you've mentioned the scholarship route, but we haven't talked about land or anything like that as well. Like, how are you looking at it as a whole? Is it just you're going to get people to go in, play the game, come out? Is there an angle that we haven't looked at? Because obviously, this is the way that you're looking at the game. Is this something that we're missing that you're kind of like planning for and looking for?
Yeah, well, I think it's what I just touched on. Everyone who thinks about the whole scholarship thing in Illuvium, to I feel like they just go right to like, all right, I have my alluvials and I'm going to lend those out to other people. But I'm looking at providing the fuel in the shards for people to actually go and play the game. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I think it's gonna be like the overworld. I think is gonna be the best way to really monetize in Illuvium. But the reason is because it's gonna take a lot more time.
Yeah,
And just like any business, I only have so much time I can do myself. So I need to get other people to help me scale up.
yeah,
So that's my plan. I want to have other sponsees, what I'm going to call them, to help me scale up. They spend time in the game. They get rewarded, um, like earning potential,
yeah,
that we would both agree on. It's not slave labor
yeah.
that people say. Like if
Mm.
you can't force somebody to play, so we come up with an agreement that they're okay with, that I'm okay with, and that's a sustainable model. And
Yeah,
then we go like that. Other people are going to use their time to help build up the whole business.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Like you look at professional esports, and I mean, they're not making money from the game. So how are they playing? Right? They have people provide the money to them to
yeah,
get them to the location, to give them the training. I mean, even with professional sports, it's a similar thing. I mean, you've got ticket sales, which is a big element of both of those things. But at the same time, someone has to pay for you to not be working full time, and that's just the reality of it. And that's the same with video games. Most people need to work full time, and they don't have the time to play the video game. So, if there's some way you can take money out of it, so now you can play it as much as you want to, then that's its own realm of possibility. I don't know how far Illuvium will get that side of things. I don't think it will nail this whole renting thing on the first try. But I definitely think it's going to be better than anything we've ever seen. And I'm excited to see V2 and V3 because I think they're going to be some really genuine business capabilities for people. But at the same time, even me, us three producing YouTube content is kind of the same thing. We're
yeah,
using the viewers of Illuvium to pay ourselves so that we can keep producing content for them. It's still a
Mhm.
transaction and it's based around Illuvium, so it's very similar as a very similar premise. So the next thing
Yeah.
I want to go onto is which it's a bit of a loaded question, but Illuvium Land or Overworld, which one's going to net you more profit?
Overworld. Yeah,
Yeah.
just what I just touched on. Overworld is going to be more of a product of your time.
Mm.
So I think it's going to take more time, which is why I want to build a model to scale up on that time.
Yeah.
But I think whatever time you put into the overworld is going to net you more than any other part of Illuvium. And again, not financial advice. We don't know yet because it's not out. But
Yeah.
I personally think that is going to be the best way to monetize. There are going to be people who are just focused on the arena, and I'm sure there's going to be arena awards, and whoever's really good, the top players are probably going to make a lot. But for the average person, I think if they really are just looking at it like they want to, make some, earning out of it, then I think spending time in the overworld is going to be the best thing for you. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, there are people who don't want to spend the time in the overworld and just want these alluvials.
Yeah.
If you can provide it for them, you're gonna make something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
is Gianna gonna be one of those people that that works for
No.
you? No, okay, she's like
No,
not even willing to listen to the question.
no, not even close.
Oh no! You know
Nah.
when you play that little Fancy Birds game? When you play the game on my phone and you tap it and go up and down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me money every time you do that.
And
Yeah.
she's like, yo, where's my cut? Where's my cut?
No, honestly, I already have plans for this. When she's a little older, that's gonna be her allowance. You want to
Yeah.
play? You want some allowance? You want to go to the movies on Friday night with your friends? You got to play some Illuvium.
Joe, can you
Right?
imagine? Back in my day, it was like, yo, clean your room. These kids,
Yeah, now
yo,
it's gonna
play
be
a
like, play
game.
some video game.
She
Play a
gets
game.
paid in McDonald's.
Yeah, she gets paid at McDonald's.
No.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's my word.
She's gonna be, oh, there we go. Yo, and now you working. But
Oh, you want?
all right, so you,
I know the number.
yeah, tell us the number. I'm just checking.
I just
Tell
wanted to
us the
say,
number.
I just wanted to go into the next one. Is like,
You
do you have any? Do you have
Sorry.
any advice? Do you have any advice for people that want to set up their own scholarship structures and things like that? Obviously, I've got a bunch of Fancy Bird scholars. I'm not very good at the whole managing it and stuff, but it's certainly been an interesting learning curve, and it's been great to meet a bunch of new people and help them out, help me out, so on and so forth. Just meet some people and create long-lasting partnerships. Like, do you have any advice?
So one thing that I did is I started up a Discord. I called it GameFi Contact. I basically set it up as a way to manage my own scholars to help bring more scholars in. Then I started inviting other managers in who would bring their scholars and just bring more in. A lot of people in there want to call it a guild. I keep telling them it's not a guild. It's just a way to keep everyone together and to manage everybody. So I have over like 1,200 people in there, and most of them are scholars, and a lot of them right now are looking for Fancy Bird scholarships. But I think having a place for them to having a place for them to go and where you can talk to them and have some threads, you can do some competitions. One thing about the scholars is that you need to keep them interested. There are some that you can give them a scholarship and then you don't hear from them and you just check their account and they're doing great, they're doing what they need to do. But there are other ones that you want to keep involved, you want to do little competitions to keep them going, especially in the bear market. One thing that's tough is that when coins drop, like for example in Fancy Birds, I have over 100 scholars right now, I think. If you have one red day, I go and I look at the birds and there's 10 to 15 of them that just didn't get played that day. And if you have a green day, like today, I haven't even looked at my Discord messages yet, but one or two green days like this, and then I have 10 people in my inbox saying that they want more birds or they want to play. So it's also managing that, trying to let them know that a lot of them might be fairly new to crypto themselves. So let them know that this is the time where you need to build up, save up. You're not going to be making a ton right now, but if you do what you're supposed to do in the bear market, then in the bull market, you can take full advantage of that.
Yeah. And so talk to me about how I've never been, again, like I said, Illuvium is really my kind of first experience in this area. So I haven't done any Axie stuff, any Fancy Bird stuff in regards to scholarships, sponsorships. But right now, currently, what's the infrastructure like? How does that work? Is it just trust based? So what? I just give it to you, and what if you don't give it back? What's how does that actually work?
So
it might sound like a stupid question, but I honestly don't know.
No. So like I said, I try not to spread myself too thin. So I really haven't gotten into a lot of GameFi projects other than Axie and Fancy Birds, and they really work completely differently. In Fancy Birds, there's an in-game lending system that's they designed it for that, and they made it so easy. You literally just get the wallet of the scholar, whatever you wanna send the birds to. You plug it in. slide a little bar for what percentage they're going to earn and what percentage you're going to earn, and then you click send. And it's very easy in Fancy Birds.
Right.
Something like Axie, even though it was pretty much built up on the scholarship system, they don't have an in-game lending thing. So everything's done manually, which I think is what's going to happen. Well, I think there'll be both options in Illuvium.
Yeah.
But
isn't there some risk with that?
No.
So there's really not. All of the risk really is on the scholar's end.
Yeah.
So in Axie, I make a new wallet account. I link it to a new game account. I send Axies to that account.
Yeah.
And then I give the scholar the username and password.
Right.
When they log in, if they try to do a transaction on chain, it asks them to sign a wallet, and they can't sign it because it's not connected on their end. So they earn in the way they need to trust is that whenever I say, like, whether it's 2 weeks or every month, I go into the account, take my percentage out, and send them theirs to their personal wallet.
Yeah.
So on my end, there's no risk at all.
It's the risk is on them. Interesting.
The risk is on their end. Well, so the risk is on their end in the fact that is the manager going to pay them out? But also the risk is all on the manager of the assets themselves. Because when Axie went to zero, or not to zero, when Axie went crashing down, those were my Axies, and they all lost a ton of value. The scholars that were playing for me only lost future earning potential.
Yeah.
They didn't really lose anything.
Of course.
I actually think during last summer, or it was summer for me, when Axie really blew up, I think there were scholars who, a lot of them were from the Philippines, who made out with more money than I made out with. Because there were some months where they were taking $500 out a month for in the Philippines. That's a ton of money. Yeah. I had people sending me pictures of refrigerators and saying, "Oh, I bought this for my family," or throwing birthday parties for their kids, saying it was because of the scholarship system that they did. Yeah. And me not knowing any better, I was just compounding everything I had. Yeah. And I just kept compounding until it came down.
And you weren't taking,
And that's a lesson I learned.
Yeah.
And I think I needed to learn that. And that's why I think, like, I'm going to be set up pretty good for however it's going to work in Illuvium. I'm going to know how it works because I've been through it. I started at the bottom, I rode the wave up, and I rode it down. There's not a lot of people who are in the Illuvium space who have done that.
Yeah.
So I think that's valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to kind of switch directions here and talk about your AMA with Kieran. So you had an AMA/2 AMAs with Kieran. Talk to us about that experience, man. What were the biggest takeaways you got from that conversation? Talk to us about that entire thing. I'm actually curious because that was your first time doing an AMA with him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah, it was my first. I've exchanged some messages with Kieran before, but yeah, that was the first time getting on a call with him. It was good. It seems like Kieran, he doesn't back away from any questions you have, even though I did have some questions for him that he couldn't answer or didn't want to answer.
Yeah.
But I went into it kind of with the investment business, mindset, and especially around like how like the sponsorship system might work. So I wanted to ask questions that hadn't been asked before. And I really wanted to try to get as much clarity into how things might function on the back end of the game, especially since like right now I'm like, obviously I'm trying to build up a YouTube, but that takes some time. If I want to go like make a business out of Illuvium, it's going to be with this scholarship system. So really figuring out that is a big deal for me because I need to know if I'm going to be able to turn this into my business or if I need to look elsewhere to make that happen. Because if Illuvium doesn't do it, other games are going to do it. and the other games haven't. They're not as good as Illuvium. We expect Illuvium to be right now, but at some point there will be another game that's just as good as Illuvium that's gonna support those kinds of systems. And
Mm.
it, unfortunately, if that's my business model right now.
Yeah.
So if another game comes up, then I'm gonna have to shift some attention that way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I want to be able to do it in Illuvium.
Yeah.
But so I asked him a lot of questions on that, and like I said, there were some things that it seemed like he knew that he didn't want to answer, and then some things that he just might not have.
Yeah.
He might not know.
Yeah. Was there anything that he answered that was surprising to you or new information to you that really stood out? That really clarified something that you had? I know I'm asking like a very specific question and it's hard for you to recall, but
Um, yeah. So the whole like lending idea, it
Mhm.
came up in two different parts. It came
Yeah.
up when talking about like the manager scholar sponsorship system, and that was when he was a little more hesitant to answer some of the questions. But what
Mhm.
I brought up the lending again when it came to esports, and he was a lot more open to answering those.
Yeah.
So that actually gave a little more clarity. Like he said, how at one point he mentioned, or I brought up the fact that in the Illuvidex there's a transfer option,
Yeah.
because in Axie it's called like gifting an Axie, and
Yeah.
that's what people would do. They would gift it to their other wallets, so they
Yeah.
don't need to sell it. So I asked him what the transfer option was there for, and one of the reasons he said it, he's like, so say you're a guild getting ready for an esports competition, and you want to send 10 people to this competition. He said that guild is going to have to move around the assets to get them all in those 10 accounts
Yeah.
for them to like optimize their accounts for that tournament.
Mm.
So in my head, that's the same way a scholarship system would work. It's just instead of going into an esports competition, they're just going to go in to play the game on their own.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave a little more clarity. Um, it,
Mm.
Esports, it seems like it's going to be a big thing in Illuvium, which I was excited about.
Mm.
And I know you had just brought this up, Scariox, and I hadn't even mentioned this before, but one of my long-term things with Illuvium is that whenever I have all these scholars set up, I'm going to be obviously focusing on who are the better players. And I'm
Mm.
hoping that I get somebody who's really good at the game. And then I can start, you want to be this?
Nah, I'm joking, man.
Then I can start focusing more on that scholar who's really good at the game and get them really good alluvials and maybe build them up to a point where they're able to compete in these
Yeah.
in like esports competition.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
having your own esports team would be pretty cool. I think finding the people would obviously be difficult, but it'd
Yeah.
certainly be interesting, to say the least. So we'll move on to one of the last questions now, and then we might take a quick look at the art competition before we head off, I think. So where do you see GameFi and business models inside gaming in the next 5 and 10 years? Like, how far do you think this is going to go, and do you think it's going to be done really quickly?
Well, I want to let's say 1 year in the next year. So while we're still in the kind of bearish market, just to see again, maybe we're slightly out of it, but the next year, 5 years and 10 years.
So the next year, I don't think it's going to be much different than you see right now. Until we get that next real bull run, like where Bitcoin explodes, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot. I think it's going to be mostly the people who are in the space now, and then obviously you get people who trickle in throughout the bear market. So a year from now, I don't see much of a change.
Yeah.
5 years from now, I think most, maybe not most, I'd say a good portion of gaming is going to be built on the blockchain or be backed up with NFT assets.
Yeah.
And I think there might still be that divide of people who still don't want to get into that space, who just want to, I just want to play video games for the fun of it and don't want to think of the the monetary side of things.
Mhm.
But I think there'll be games like Fortnite where like your NFT or your skin is an NFT or a digital asset, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And some people are just gonna focus on that to try to make a return, and some people are just gonna play the game as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you get to 10 years, I think it's just gonna be natural that every game has like its own real world economy in true ownership, and
Yeah.
it won't be called crypto gaming or GameFi or NFTs. It'll just be what gaming is.
Yeah.
And at that point, we'll have the best games in the world are going to be built on the blockchain. And if you think about it now, in Fortnite, like there's a ton of money spent in Fortnite. It just all that money goes to the developers and creators of the game.
Yeah.
Where when you have that same kind of game that brings in that same amount of money, but it's the players who get to make that
Yeah.
return instead of it just being centralized. I don't think it changes much about the game. It's still going to function the same way. It's just going to be, instead of making more billionaires from these games, you're going to be able to take advantage of it as a player if you want to.
Yeah. And that's something that I've kind of mentioned previously as well in regards to like it was like one of my last short that I mentioned, but it was like it's just like, yo, it trips me out that again I understand the community sentiment and the public sentiment of, oh, yo, NFTs are bad, we don't want NFTs in games. But from a market like an economic standpoint, it actually stands like to that they're gonna make these companies are gonna make way more money in the long term by doing this. It's just like again, like with Fortnite, right now it's you have someone buying it one time, and that's the end of that revenue stream. Like that's it, that's done. The only way you're gonna make more money is if they buy another one, right? Whereas if they do have that market transactions, they're collecting a royalty on that in perpetuity forever. So essentially, it's yo, you make a purchase now, and it's not the end of the revenue stream. Whether like it's not a hard cap, it's not a hard limit on it. Whether it's sold again, debatable. But the fact that it is open again means that you are going to keep collecting that royalties in the back end, which means that it's more revenue for you, but also it's revenue for the players. So no matter what, it's actually beneficial for you to do that from a business standpoint. In terms of pure economics, again, when you talk about the community sentiment, the public sentiment, you might get the backlash. Again, we see Square Enix is doing like a profile picture NFT thing right now. They're getting a whole bunch of backlash. So it's like it's a weird thing of like objectively it is clear that that is the way to make money forever, but like the public is standing in the way, whether it's because of misinformation, being uneducated.
Yeah.
Maybe it's they just have strong feelings about it that are actually rationally backed up. I don't want to stand here like, oh, you guys are just uneducated on this, but maybe there is a reason, right, that they are like that. But it seems
But
like again, if they
also,
want money, that is the way to go.
yeah, it's a long term thing too. So even these big companies, even if somebody higher up realizes this about the blockchain and what they could do with it, they want to make their money now,
Yeah,
instead of building out something that might take 5 to 10 years before they really start seeing that bigger return.
yeah,
So while I do have faith that the big companies that already exist will move to the blockchain, I think it's going to be some like gaming companies that haven't been built yet, or the new ones that are starting now that are really going to shoot to the top. Like
yeah,
obviously, I hope Illuvium is one of those organizations that move its way to the top. I think Gala Games is going to be a really good one
yeah.
at some point, because they're going to be
Yeah. Did you see
built
that thing
with
with
that
Gala?
mindset. Huh?
Did you see the thing with Gala just like what yesterday? I think it happened yesterday. The exploit.
Some of the SEC.
No, I didn't see it. What's this?
Yeah, there was like an exploit with Gala Games. Like, look at the token. It went all the way down, fam. I think there was like a lot that was taken out. I don't know all the details, but
Yeah.
I did see something about it. Yeah. And I just want to make a point as well. Dane saying 100% it's a branding thing, digital collectibles over NFTs. I actually disagree that it's solely branding. Like we saw in the last State of Play, PlayStation State of Play, they came up saying that, oh, we're doing digital collectibles. they weren't even NFTs. But soon as the community had digital collectibles, they lost their mind. They're like, "Yo, these are NFT." Like, I don't think digital collectibles are the way forward as much as we think. We're seeing it already with like, especially branding with was it Ghost Recon, where they named it like Quartz, and like they it wasn't NFTs. There was another thing. They were digital collectibles. Same backlash. You see it again with the state of play, where again they're not even NFTs, but just that word digital collectible is getting like a strong kind of visceral emotion out of the community. So again, I don't think that's
Well,
yeah
did you see where I don't know what AMA or it was on, but Kieran said he wants to do like the reverse rug pull on people is what he called
yeah
it. And it's just like get them to play the game and not even know that it's
yeah.
an NFT or a digital collectible.
That's what I
Just
think.
just have them just play a game, and then
Market
at
the
some
game.
point, yeah, at some point, just be like, oh hey, if you want, you can sell this alluvial.
Mm.
It's like imagine you just played a game and you loved it, and it's just a game that you played, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can sell this and make a little bit of money on it. Like
Could
that's what's going to get people in.
Yeah.
could you imagine if they took it to the next level and everyone's playing, they got 100 million players or whatever, then all of a sudden they go, oh, we're turning on a feature where you can see the true value of your NFTs, and people don't even know they have NFTs. Then they go into their wallet, it's like, oh, you have $5,000 in assets or something stupid. And
Yeah.
people will be like, oh, it's like the Reddit thing all over again. I think that'd be really fascinating. I don't want to put prices in your in-game
Yeah,
thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want any of that. But I'm just saying, if they did, that would just be really amusing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if Fortnite went into their back end and just made every skin that they ever gave out an NFT. Just turned it to an NFT in the background, and then
Yeah.
just said, "Hey, these are NFTs that you can take off now. Everything that
Yeah.
you've ever bought in Fortnite becomes an NFT." Like I feel like they could do that, and that would be I think that would bring
Yeah.
on mass adoption.
Yeah, I feel like it's a
Uh,
matter of time for Fortnite, just because Epic Games is so bullish on the crypto space. You see that with Grit, the Cowboy Battle Royale. You see that with Blankos, them acquiring Blankos. Like Epic Games is clearly like trying to be on the forefront and pushing that forward. And with Fortnite being like the major title, it seems inevitable that at some point, like Grit isn't going to take over Fortnite. It just isn't. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see how that happens and what happens with that.
I think Epic saw an opportunity. I think they did the same thing that a lot of countries are doing, whereas the USA is trying its best to reject crypto, and a lot of countries said, "Oh yeah, no, we'll do it." And Epic Games, because I think their announcement or they're starting to integrate blockchain and things, happened soon after Steam said we hate
Yeah,
NFTs,
yeah. It
right?
was like a week after or
I
something.
think it's really that simple. They're like, okay, Steam isn't going to do this. Let's research blockchain for a week. Oh, blockchain is actually pretty cool. Let's do it. I mean, Steam's not going to do it. We could take a huge chunk of market share just
Yeah,
with blockchain games, right? Their own genre. It's like saying, oh, I don't want shooters on my platform. Well, you just
yeah,
missed out a whole chunk of people that want shooters.
yeah,
I mean, I know it's obviously more complex than just a genre like that, but really, when you get down to it, maybe it isn't. That's how I see it personally.
yeah.
It's going
But
to give
also,
these
yeah,
smaller companies a chance to catch up to the bigger ones. That they're willing to take on something new while the bigger ones are going to reject it.
but also it's
Mm.
like the again, and we kind of see this with net worth and the way we allocate our assets, even as we get older, right? When you're younger, you're down to play the risks because you have nothing to lose. Whereas the Steam does have something to lose, right? Epic is still relatively fresh in the game. So it's like they're down to take those moves. Like Microsoft has been around for quite a while. So it doesn't make sense for them to be like, yo, we all in, like gung ho. Like it just doesn't make sense. And the same with Google. Like that's why you see Google kind of like, yo, always sitting back and waiting till it does get done. And then they come in and take a smaller share. You see that happening. And
Well,
that's why, yeah,
I was just gonna say, I think it's easy to underestimate how much a size of a company isn't necessarily an advantage in this case.
yeah,
Obviously, if you've got a lot of money, it makes you be able to produce things faster. But if your platform's as massive as something like Google, you can't just change one aspect. You've got to add blockchain to the entire thing. And that is a lot of work. A good example is Meta is currently hemorrhaging their funds, right?
yeah,
And you also think about that all their new metaverse stuff and all their new blockchain stuff hasn't been put in Facebook, hasn't been anything like that. They've built something completely new because it's a lot easier to integrate blockchain into something that hasn't been built yet. It's much harder to do it. It is something that exists. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
And maybe there will be a project out there that makes it easier for people. Things like how Chainlink makes it super easy for oracles and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's hard for them to get into the game. I think Meta had the right idea with building something new and then maybe even removing Facebook ultimately. Just renaming them Horizon Worlds or whatever they've built.
As what
and integrating Facebook into that instead because that has the blockchain. I don't know.
I wonder how long it's going to take because Meta is so ahead of the entire game with this. I'm actually curious how long it's going to take for them to really get like mass adoption like that. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they got a partnership with some campus or something. And they've given them like 20,000 headsets or something like that to basically build a virtual campus. So they're doing the right steps with like experimentation and things. And if they get it to work successfully, then I think people will jump onto it, or at least younger people. I think there's certainly an age difference with some of the newer technology. I mean, it's the same way with smartphones. It's not a shock.
But at the same time, it's like, again, grandparents are using like smartphones these days. So it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. But all right, yo, guys, Nijafe, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was fun. This is a long time coming. I can't believe this is the first time it's happened. But man, appreciate you coming on. Scoriox, appreciate you co-hosting as always. I apologize, guys. I took a week off last week. I've had no sleep. So I decided to have a bit of a sleep in. Not decided, it was accidental, but I'll claim it. But Nijafe, any kind of last words before we close this one out?
I'd just say don't sleep on the sponsorship side of Illuvium. Like I said, that's going to be one of my big things. Illuvium as a business, or even just any GameFi as a business, it hasn't been proven to work yet. But I have a lot of confidence that a system will come up where it will work. But yeah, thanks for having me on. This has been fun. I'll come on anytime you want. So just let me know.
Yeah, awesome. And everyone, go subscribe to Nijafe as well. Sorry, Scoriox.
I was just saying, do we get to say goodbye to Jana?
Oh, yeah. Come here, come say goodbye.
The star of the show. The star of the show.
You're the star of the show. Did you hear
that? Yo, everyone, legitimately go follow Nijafe down below in the comments, in the description. Follow Scoriox, and I'm sure you guys already follow me if you're watching. But yeah. Yo, Gianna, one more T-Rex roll before we go.
Go. Fine. Go on my daddy's YouTube.
Just go on there. Don't subscribe, nothing. Just go on there.
Go on daddy's YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's how we're ending it, guys. All right. Peace out, guys. Peace out. You're happy.
All right. See you later.
Peace out, guys.